Well, he'll be starting from third in this one as we get ready for semi-final number 1 here for round 6 of ESL R1. It's the fall season, 3 rounds until the major in Sweden, and we're almost ready to go racing. The lights are coming on now, and we are ready. Round 6 here of ESL R1. It's semi-final number 1, and we are underway. A good launch from Thomas Tattler on the front row. For Heroic, he'll take the lead into turn 1. Marcel Chintik doesn't get away quite so well, and Josh Rogers heads down his inside. It's very wide from Marcel Chintik. He will slot into third, though, with Darren McCormack and Luke Bennett side by side on the way down towards Eau Rouge.
Yeah, McCormack surely got a back out here, does drop back in line, little tap at the brakes just to make sure he stays behind the Team Redline car as they rise their way up. Radion is a little bit naughty there from Marcel Chinchik, just a bit of a squeeze there on Darren McCormack. Look to the outside there, behind all of that is the likes of Maximilian Benneker's trying to get himself back involved in the mix. Got a big, though, train behind him as the Apex Racing team driver of Kevin Ellis Jr. is trying to get himself inside the top 6 as he squeezes that down the inside. Oh, there's going to be a big crash.
Carnage, Luke Bennett's involved, Darren McCormack as well, with Kevin Ellis Jr. and Maximilian Benneker. What a big moment in this race. Huge drama, huge contact, and 4 drivers surely are definitely out of this one. This turns semi-final number 1 on its head entirely as everybody moves. Basically, Dave Warren, Bono House and Patrick Holtzman are the new entries into the top 6.
And what drivers to have out there, basically. I mean, Luke Bennett's still got a chance here in 9th spot. Yes, he's 1.3 seconds behind, and it is a bit of a tall order. But of those 3, Benneker, McCormack, and Ellis Jr., we both had all 3 of those down as moving through in this one, almost guaranteed, straight away. Costly mistake there. Again, we'd have to check it out on replays and such, but I believe it was just Kevin Ellis Jr. Getting slightly wrong-footed by Benneker and then just completely misjudged it and caused quite the kerfuffle. What this is going to do, though, is it's going to open the door big time for drivers that are further down the order in the championship. As you can take a look there over the shoulder of race controller Adrian, you know, having a little look, seeing what's going on, and yeah, not a pleasant scene.
No, that's quite a poignant shot, by the way. There is race director going to be having a look at the start, and it's going to need to be a few looks, I think, and there's going to need to be a few. Out towards the end of lap 1 then, it's Thomas Tattler who still leads. Josh Rogers has got ahead of Marcel Chinchik on the front. Dane Warren inside the top 6 now, so is Bono House and Patrick Holtzman. Lustig Sorensen and Elvis Rankin are the ones trying to get into that top 6, with Luke Bennett in 9th place, just hanging off the back. And as you say, those 3 at the bottom are surely confirmed out of this race and out of the semi-final stage. What a big 3 drivers to have knocked out as well. We've seen so much trouble, and we're on lap 2 of the evening.
You got to say, though, you know, feel bad for drivers like Darren McCormack, who was just in the middle of it. You know, there was nothing that McCormack could do. Yes, you know, you could say Benneker also in that same sort of A, but Benneker, you know, was in the real fight with Ellis Jr. there, so you know there was that. McCormack was just driving his line. More contact as we see between Sorensen and Holtzman. Sorensen's trying to get himself inside the top 6 and certainly does so. Bish Bash Bosch and the Fury car's working its way through for the 2nd consecutive week.
Through goes Lasse Sorensen, and Patrick Holtzman looks to reply but can't quite. Elvis Rankin stays 8th for the moment and looks for a way through of his own as they go downhill. The right-hander of Rivage now through No Name corner, and just avoiding that gravel on the outside line. Just clip it ever so slightly as you make your way down towards Puan as well. This battle has slightly allowed the top 5 to get away, I think it's fair to say. Lasse Sorensen getting through has just slowed everybody down, and the top 5 are looking a bit better out front now.
Yeah, certainly so. We'll take a replay in a second, by the way, and we'll try and piece together everything that happened up towards Lake Com. See this, keep your eye on. So there's a bit of a squeeze there from Benneker, then Ellis Jr. comes straight back over. You need to see that basically on board from Ellis Jr., to be perfectly honest, because he was getting squeezed a little bit by Benneker and then just tried sending it straight back down the inside, but the car wasn't under control.
Well, the question for me is whether Kevin Ellis Jr. was trying to go for a gap that was, you know, always going to see him on the grass, or was he pushed there by Max Benneker? That is the key moment for me, because I think it's clear to see that the thing that starts it all is Ellis Jr. being on the grass and then out of control and then sort of skittling into everybody like he's in a bowling alley. And unfortunately, it's taken out 4 drivers, including himself there. The question for me is whether he was pushed there or whether he went there voluntarily on his own.
Yeah, big time. And yeah, again, that's... thankfully, Ewan, not for us to decide. We get to sit back and and accept that that's someone else's responsibility, not ours, because I do not want to be making that call. But either way, I mean, regardless of who you think's to blame in that one, whether it's Beneker or Ellis Jr., I mean, the pair of them are down in 10th and 12th. And Beneker's already got a penalty looming over his head, which he'll deal with next week. Courtesy of an issue in the knockout phase, so it's not looking so great. Fastest lap of the race has gone the way of Lasse Sorensen, then, who finds himself inside the top 6. Joshua Rogers closing in for the race lead once again. Here we go.
Thomas Tattler stays through the middle, gives Rogers the option of the inside or the outside, and the Australian goes outside. They make wheel-to-wheel contact on the way towards Lecombe. It's absolutely locked together, but Josh Rogers goes through. Thomas Tattler out wide, and Marcel Cincic gets alongside him ever so briefly. The run out of Malmedy is going to be good, and here we go with Marcel Cincic on the outside now. Will Porsche Coanda be looking for a 1-2 though? Because if this goes wrong, Dane Warren is right there waiting. Side by side into no-name corner as Tattler goes round the outside. A great battle and a great defence from the Finnish driver to hold on to second at the very least. It allows everybody behind just to shovel up one more place and just get that little bit closer to second, currently held by Thomas Tattler.
And Joshua Rogers then stepping himself closer to getting another race victory, moving himself further ahead when it comes to most race wins. Defensive line being taken there from Dane Warren. Bonner House all over the rear end of him, looking for his second final of the year. Bonner did have one a couple of rounds ago at round 4 of the charity. We end up finishing in 8th position on that day. Obviously would like to get another one onto the board as the lone driver for the Mercedes team at the moment. Got to be said though, Thomas Tattler and Josh Rogers making contact on a straight into Lecombe. That is, what, the 4th time this race we've seen drivers making contact on the straight bit going into that corner? That is unacceptable at this level.
It's bizarre is what it is in my opinion, but yeah, it's something you don't want to see at all on the way in towards that complex corner, or indeed any complex of corners to be fair. Out of the final corner now for the end of lap 3. It's semi-final number 1 in round 6 of ESL R1 for the 4th season. Josh Rogers leads by nearly a second already. Surely Tattler's under a lot of pressure here in towards Lecombe. Cincic and Warren are going to want to find their way through as long as they all get it right on the way out of La Source. I think Warren's run is more than good enough for a move here, possibly Cincic's as well.
Yeah, but Warren's got to be careful going into T1. That's exactly where Beneker had the issue yesterday, and it's exactly where Dane Warren had the issue in the very first race of ESL R1. He misjudged his braking zone going into La Source and absolutely clouted the rear end of the car ahead. Cannot afford to do that right now. Warren genuinely is one of the fastest drivers here, could be up for a race victory as Marcel Cincic will get his way to the inside. They fight their way up towards Lecombe, side by side between Sorensen and House as well behind. Side by side between Cincic and Tattler for second position. Cincic's got all the way around the outside of the first part of Lecombe, around Malmedy. Dane Warren goes for a gap that's barely there, and there's contact between Tattler and Warren.
Well, Warren tried to follow Marcel Cincic through there, but it wasn't going to happen, and very nearly threw it all away in the process. Couldn't quite do it in the end, though, and Tattler will at least hold on to 3rd, and Marcel Cincic is through into 2nd position. Now Dane Warren's got the run, even towards Pouon. Dane Warren was actually under pressure in towards Pivpath on the last lap, by the way, from Bono House, so it can happen anywhere at this circuit. It's not all about Lecombe and the chicane at the end of the lap. You can get a good run down the hill here and have a go, and that's what Dane Warren is going to do, maybe. On the other side of the equation now, he dives it down the inside into the right-hander. They'll remain side by side because it will switch to Tattler's corner through the second part, but Dane Warren hangs it round the outside and he's up to 3rd place.
What a move! What an honestly, I thought that was a crash. I was on the I was wincing looking at the screen. I thought Warren was about to clean out Thomas Tattler there. Not on. Brilliant driving between the pair of them. It's so hard to leave room and keep a good racing line for there. So kudos to both Warren and to Tattler. But Tattler's looking like he's feeling the pressure right now. There's definitely not going to be a race victory on the hands for him. But look at Sorensen, look at House, look at Patrick Holtzman as well involved. Sorensen with the fastest lap of the race is looking to get his way further up the order. Again, all these positions, whilst they're inside the top 6, whilst they're moving through the competition, but they are all for some very valuable points which drivers like Lasse Sorensen desperately need. They are below the cut line at the moment. Days like this can turn that around.
And to be fair, Thomas Tattler's not exactly safe in terms of making it to the major yet, and we know how close he got last time around in the spring. He will want a non-repeat of that, let's say, over the course of the fall season. So it's important for all of these guys. Tattler, Sorensen, House, Holtzman, Rankin, they're all on that bubble, if you like, and they all want to make it to the final as well as get the points that you can from semi-final number 1. 3 laps to go, including the one that we've just begun. It's Dane Warren who's going to have to defend it because Thomas Tattler has stopped going backwards, stopped defending. All of a sudden, he's going forwards. It's late on the brakes, though, from Warren, and he stood up the place through Lecombe. He holds it round the outside through the first spot, and he will hold on to third place for the moment. But he's now the cork in the bottle. He hasn't been able to get away quite as successfully as the likes of Rogers and Chinchik before him.
Yeah, but out wide Warren went going through Malmedy. You can see he's pushing this car to the absolute limit. Just needs to calm himself down, get himself back involved in the race. Not really focused too much on getting the 1-2 right now. Focus on holding on to third position, but there could well be a 1-2 Porsche Coanda in this race. Of course, we have had a 1-2 in a final before. Maybe Porsche Coanda are looking to take that one as well. The 1-2 that we had previously was when Marco Pajic won round 6 of the spring season. It was Pajic ahead of Baldwin, neither of which are in competition today, courtesy of getting knocked out in knockout 3 and 4 yesterday. Warren then third position. The gap's looking towards about half a second. It's looking fairly comfortable for this very moment, but as soon as we go through the likes of Stavelo, Paul Frere, and out of this backstretch up towards Blanchimont, and then of course the run down towards Lake Com, that's when the slipstream comes into effect, and that's when Thomas Tattler's going to be knocking at the door once again, I feel.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen here, because you've got to be looking at those like Patrick Holtzman as well. He surely is not going to just lie down and take this seventh place either. It's going to feel like second because he's not quite going to make it to the final. Top 6 progress, of course, to the final that is coming up a little bit later on here this evening, which we've had semi-final number 2 as well. Tattler goes wide into the bus stop. Lasse Sorensen got very close there, almost too close. It allowed him to, or prevented him, I should say, from getting the run onto the front straight here. He's going to have to wait for Lecombe once again, but Thomas Tattler is under pressure here, so much so that you'd expect him to maybe even be worried about not finishing inside the top 6, even though he is 4th right now. What a race we're seeing so far in semi-final number 1 here for ESL R1. Thomas Tattler once again is going to be on the defensive. It's now time for Lasse Sorensen to try and find his way through.
Penultimate time then up into Lake Com. They'll have this opportunity, they'll have an opportunity in a lap's time as well. You've got battles behind all of this. Luke Bennett below the cut line has caught this train back up. He was 1.3 seconds behind after the incident on lap 1. He's now knocking at the door of Elvis Rankin. I think the chance of him moving through is kind of gone, but you never really know. Do not count out Luke Bennett in that 9th position, because he may well just pull off something special, especially if there is some good luck his way, and bad luck for everyone else involved in this train. You never really know. We've already seen quite a lot of drivers being sent down that escape road, and then when it comes to the last lap, things can get a bit elbows out.
Exactly, you do just never know, and so you've got to just keep going anyway. And of course, there's an extra point on the line there anyway, even if he doesn't make it through into the final. Anyway, Bennett could take that extra point away from Elvis Rankin, who's currently getting 4 for this race. Bennett getting 3 as they run right now. Down the hill through Pouhon for the penultimate time of asking here this afternoon. It's Marcel Chinchik who's at the front of the train, really, because Dane Warren has caught up to him. It's all in arrears to Josh Rogers, of course, who's nearly 2 seconds out in the front of the race. But this is the kind of battle you want to see. 8 drivers all fighting for second on backwards. Most of them, or 5 of them at least, going through into the final a little bit later on. So far, it's Tattler, Sorensen and House who are probably in those danger places. Patrick Holtzman's going to look for his way through as we head towards the final lap. When is Holtzman going to strike? He hasn't really made even a remote attempt on Bono House so far.
Which is a bit of a surprise, really, because we know the Audi is actually pretty decent in S1, in that first sector, on that run up towards Lake Com. Really, there could be the attempt of a move down into the first corner, because the Merc's not super great on traction coming off of the bus stop, but it's such a short straight, this one. It's only, what, 300-400 metres, something like in that margin. It's not a very long straight, so you can't really send any down the inside going into the first corner. So it's looking like it's a bit tricky. Holtzman doesn't really have the options. The slipstream's being gifted out between the grouping, and now our focus is on the battle for second. Ewan, could it be a Porsche Coanda 1-2? Dane Warren thinks so.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't think Dane Warren had the pace to do this, actually, but over the course of the last couple of laps, he has caught Marcel Chinchik very quickly. Now, I'm not sure Dane Warren's quite got the run-through rally on there to go for it. The slipstream is going to come in handy, though. He will get down the inside at the very end here of the Kemmel Straight. It's side by side. Whoa, be careful, Dane Warren. He very nearly lost the car entirely. Marcel Chinchik hangs on for the moment. They both risked it all there, almost.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, could you imagine if you were to drop it in this scenario, how silly you'd feel, how in pain you'd feel. Obviously, you know, not going through to a final when the position was fairly secure, just trying to go after a little bit of extra glory, and obviously those really important points when it comes to the championship. I mean, he'd be closing up in the team's championship, looking to try and grab second position in the team's championship, but stealing some extra points away from RHG could well be important. You never know, never count out Porsche Commando, but right now things are looking very strong, you know, for Marcel Chinchik. One final opportunity for him to defend down at the bus stop. Again, I think he might well be able to hang on.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to do that. Josh Rogers certainly will. 2.5 seconds in front. What about Patrick Holtzman? Will he be able to get through on Bono House here? I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be very, very close for 6th place, but I think that the positions we're seeing at the moment are going to be the ones that we see at the end of semi-final number 1 as well. 7 laps of breathless racing here at Spa-Francorchamps for round 6 of ESL R1, but it looks like these are the positions they're going to end it. There is Joshua Rogers on his way to his 22nd win in ESL R1 history, and half of which have come at this very venue. His 11th victory at Spa on its way right now. Out of the final couple of corners for Joshua Rogers. He is going to be semi-final number 1 race winner, and he's going to be on for the clean sweep here this afternoon. Round 6 semi-final number 1 goes to Josh Rogers, and the top 6 behind him remains the same as well. A dominant drive again from Joshua Rogers, who wins here at Spa. There he is once again, 11 wins at this venue. Half of his wins in ESL R1 have come at this track, and he's on his way to being one of the big favourites for the final coming up a little bit later on. Everybody else is going to have to watch out, because Josh Rogers is on top form once again, and do we ever expect anything less?